No part of this recording may be used to train so-called generative AI models. This episode features fictional stories set in the X-Files universe that contain themes of erotic and sexual nature. Welcome back to Fandom X Archive, a podcast where we explore the early days of the X-Files fandom with the emphasis on slash ships and queer interpretations of our favorite characters. I am your host, Dinara Tengri, aka Alien Super Soldier, aka That Krychek Chick. It's Pride Month, and in the spirit of diversity, equality, and inclusivity, we are going to do our very first Slashfic reading on this podcast. But instead of reading just one queer classic X-Files fanfic, we're going to read 3. It has been a challenge to find PG-13 rated slashfic, but I have found some really good ones. 2 of these stories are beautifully written character pieces, and the third one is just pure cheeky fun. First, we have Pulling Off His Wings by Hammerhead. It's a Mulder/Krychek story that takes place right before the Dwayne Barry arc. Next, we have Karma by Sally Vamp, which reimagines the season 9 episode Improbable as a Scully/Reyes romance origin story. And last but not least, we have Caring for Your Rat by Finn, which, the title is pretty self-explanatory. There are no graphic depictions of sex in these stories, but as I have mentioned in the disclaimer, these stories do contain erotic and sexual themes. Also, there is a homophobic slur in the first story, which is used ironically, but I have chosen to not feature it in the reading nonetheless. So without further ado, let's read some slash. Pulling Off His Wings by Hammerhead. Startled out of a deep sleep, Alex Krychek reached out from under the warm blankets to grab the ringing phone. Krychek? Alex, I'll be at the motel in 20 minutes. Mulder's voice was soft and secretive, but Alex was used to that. I'll be there. Alex hung up the phone and wondered for the 100th time what the hell he was doing. He should have said no. He shouldn't have even picked up the phone. By now he knew that the only person calling him at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday night would be a horny Mulder. He slowly dragged himself out of bed and rummaged through his drawers for a pair of jeans, socks, and underwear. Grabbing a shirt out of the laundry basket, he slipped it over his sleep-rumpled hair and headed into the bathroom. Looking at his reflection in the mirror, he couldn't help but notice the utter blankness in the face that stared back at him. He was going to have a secret rendezvous with his lover. Shouldn't he be excited? Instead, he just felt tired. He brushed his teeth and ran a comb through his unruly hair before grabbing his coat and heading out the door. Getting into the car, he was once again hit by the absurdity of this secret meeting. He liked Mulder. He liked him a lot. When the older agent had come on to him one night after a difficult case and a few drinks, he was thrilled to be taken to his bed. They'd had sex that night in a nondescript hotel in whatever bumfuck little town that the case had led them to. He smiled a little as he remembered that first night. The sex had been extraordinary, even if Mulder had seemed a little cold and distant afterward. The next day, everything seemed to go back to normal, including his annoying habit of putting Alex down and treating him like an errand boy. They didn't talk about the night before, or make any move in that direction again, until a few weeks later when Mulder called late at night and asked Alex to meet him at a hotel. At first, he had been thrilled that Mulder actually wanted him, and with his visions of a relationship dancing in his head, he'd driven to the hotel. But those hopes had been dashed. It was the same hotel he was driving to tonight, and he was sure the results tonight would be the same as that night a few months ago. The lights would be off, he would strip, they would have sex, he would go home. No words, no affection, nothing but meaningless sex in the dark with a warm body. Alex pulled into his usual parking spot at the rear of the building, next to Mulder's black Ford, and just sat in the car with the lights off. Never had Mulder acknowledged their relationship in public, or even just been nice to him outside of this hotel. Why was he doing this to himself? Shit, love could make you such a fool. This whole affair made him feel dirty deep down to his soul. But isn't that what he was? A dirty little white boy from the wrong side of the tracks, who had always been used by rich and powerful men? His mind drifted to the shadowy men who had plagued most of his career since college. They had offered him quick advancement, intrigue, and money. For a boy who had been raised by poor lower-class family in New York, it was the chance of a lifetime. Now he was assured their motives were pure. Life was getting complicated. He got out of the car and made his way to the hotel door, then just stood there and stared. He knew that if he used the key and went in, he would lose another piece of himself, a piece of his already damaged soul. What was wrong with him? Was he such a bad person that he didn't deserve to be loved, to be acknowledged in public, or be an equal partner at work? Are you worried what your friends will see, Mulder? Will it ruin your reputation if you get caught loving me? Fuck, not like you had much of a reputation to protect in the first place. I guess adding gay to your spooky reputation was not on the schedule this week. The consortium had approached him about an assignment that would forever turn Mulder against him if he found out. They wanted that red-headed bitch out of the way permanently, and had given Alex the orders to do it. He was to help her disappear and make it look like Mulder was to blame. Alex knew what that would do to Mulder, how much it would hurt both his cause and his heart. Sadly, at this moment, he couldn't bring himself to care. It would be the end of any hope Alex had for a real relationship with Mulder. Fuck, like he had that now. As he put the key in the door and turned the lock, he knew that he would accept the assignment. He would end these games with Mulder and save his own soul. Karma by Sally Vamp. It is William's first Christmas. Not that he's really old enough to get it yet. He likes the lights and the decorations, but the significance of the growing pile of presents under the tree in the corner of the room had passed him by so far. Monica is excited enough for all of us. It is also our first Christmas. Together, I mean. Both of us are still getting used to the idea of being a couple. I can't get over the fact that I didn't have to hide how I felt anymore. I hid how I felt almost from the moment I first saw her. Monica had already admitted pretty much the same to me, that she knew that she had fallen in love with me the day that William was born. I remember that day so well. She called me beautiful. In the most extreme of circumstances, I was half out of my mind with fear at the time, giving birth to my son surrounded by my enemies. Hers was the only friendly face. She told me that I was beautiful. And as her sure, steady hands brought my son, my sweet William, into the world, I looked up at her and knew that I had fallen in love, and that I could never tell her. One thing I know, things change, thank God. And we owe it all to a strange man we met in a parking garage, and the mystical powers of karmic numbers. She asked me if I believed, not in flying saucers or the possibility of alien life on other planets and ours, but whether the universe was knowable. Do you believe the universe is knowable as a mathematical calculation of the whole reducible to a single equation? Before that, she had asked me if I thought she was crazy. I had turned that question back on her, asking why I would think she was crazy. I didn't want to answer. Not because I thought she was crazy, but because I was afraid of what I would tell her, that I was the one going crazy. I tried to concentrate on what she was saying, but it was so difficult to get beyond watching her say it. I found myself doing that a lot, just watching her, watching Monica Reyes, my new favorite pastime. 8 months after I first realized I loved her, I was still in love, still in denial. No, I don't think that the complexity of the universe allows for it to be reduced so simply. But you accept that some people do, she persisted. I knew what the expression on my face would be, skeptical. Mulder loved to see that face. He always thought it was a challenge. Monica was proving to be the same way. I presume you mean the so-called unified theory, what physicists often refer to as the theory of everything. An equation so simple they say it might be printed on a t-shirt. It's the holy grail in the world of science, potentially the most important question that mankind has ever asked. But that such a complex calculation is even possible is a subject of enormous controversy. Is that what you mean? She nodded. I want to ask you to open your mind to something. I noticed the pile of files on the desk beside her and the projector. She turned it on, displaying some crime scene photos on the wall. All women, all dead. Their lives ended in fear and brutality. I studied them, noting the base similarities. After all, there are only so many ways you can beat someone to death with your bare hands, whilst Monica reeled off a list of names, dates, places, all unsolved. Up until now. Agent Reyes, am I to presume that you've solved these unsolved murders by using some kind of numerical calculation? Letters of names, assigned values, added to birthdays, reduced to the lowest common denominator? I interrupted her. Numerology, Agent Reyes. You're trying to solve these cases by using what is essentially a child's game. God, why did I have to sound so dismissive, so goddamn superior? I loved this woman, didn't I? Even someone as sweet and easygoing as Reyes bit back at that. It's been in use since the 6th century BC, when Pythagoras determined that the world was built on the power and influence of numbers. She sighed, closed her eyes. I had her. I knew it. I was annoyed with myself for getting such guilty pleasure out of doing so. We did it as kids. I still do. You meet people at a party, ask them their birth date. It's kind of an icebreaker. And as I was reading the story of this woman, I calculated she was a 14, what they call a karmic number, an extremely significant numerological number, and something prompted me to look at all these other unsolved cases, the victims of which also work out to have karmic numbers, 10, 13, 16. I hated it when my skepticism was proven right. Even Mulder would have jumped all over this one. So in other words, you haven't actually solved these cases. Maybe cracked is a better word, Reyes conceded with a smile. Without any other evidence to directly connect them, circumstantial or forensic, I remember the feeling of elation as I spotted something. And it was not just the thrill of the chase this time. It was the knowledge that I could prove her right, that I could show her that I wasn't the stone-faced bitch my work persona made me out to be sometimes. I know Monica did not think of me that way. At least, if she did, she was a damn good actress about it. I have to say, with everything I know you must be feeling, you look amazingly beautiful, Dana. As ever, the remembrance of those words made me glow inside. I realized I had zoned out. Monica was staring at me, a quizzical expression on her face. Can you enlarge this? I asked, pointing to an area on the screen, a bruise on the dead woman's cheek. Rhea zoomed in on the photo, bringing the feature I thought I had seen into sharp relief. Yes, it was there. Somehow Monica had stumbled onto something. It was too fantastic, but it was there. Can I see the rest of the photos? What is it? Reyes asked. There's a pattern in the bruising. All 4 of the victims have it. 3 small circles. It might be from a ring that the killer wears. Monica looked dazed, pleased but dazed. So you're saying these cases are connected? That numerology may actually be driving the killer and that I'm definitely not crazy? Again, I couldn't resist. Or that maybe you're both crazy. So that's how we set out on the trail of the 000 killer, as VICAP christened him. And thanks to a game of checkers and the mysterious Mr. Burt, we finally admitted to each other how we felt. And just to say managed to miss becoming victims 8 and 9. Cause and effect, that's how we're supposed to work. But sometimes life is not like that. Our killer's reasons were opaque to us. Monica's insistence that numerology was the basis of everything to do with this case might not have been the popular theory, but it was the only one we had. She had a point. If he acts on impulses he can't understand, isn't it possible we can't understand them either? Can we not accept that every killer is not driven by the same impulses, and that there are some impulses that not every killer kills for? Impulses. The impulse not to press my lips to hers, to see if they would be as soft as I thought they would be, to find out what she tasted like, to find out how it felt to have those strong, slim arms and legs wrapped around me, those long, slender fingers fingering me, touching me. We had to catch this maniac who beat women to death with his bare fists before he killed again, and all I could think about was Monica Reyes. I just thought it was a general symptom of my distracted state when I kept running into strings of numbers that I could not explain. The 000 killer morphed into the 666 killer. And we realized that the dead numerologist that Monica had consulted only hours before her murder was another victim, number 7. She shared the same set of karmic numbers in her chart to the previous victims. But none of it helped us find the killer. I knew I wasn't fully concentrating on the case. I could not get Monica out of my mind. Her excitement at discovery, her dejection when I shut her down again. I tried to see it her way, believe me, I tried. Much as I had tried before to solve the case the way Mulder would have done. But it just wasn't in my nature to be so open. About anything, it seemed. Another day went by and I didn't tell her how I felt. I just tortured myself, a slow burn inside that nothing seemed to soothe. Then things got really weird. I'm talking about what happened in the parking garage now after we chased our suspect, a lowlife called Wayne, into the structure. Mr. Burt. I still haven't a clue who or what he was, playing checkers. Even with Mulder in tow, I don't think things ever got that surreal. It was like we had been taken out of time somehow. We knew there were other things we should be doing, chasing our suspect for one, but when he suggested playing checkers, it just seemed entirely reasonable that we should just sit there and play a game. Or 3. I lost, which mortified me. Then Monica played him and I went to check the doors again. I even tried to shoot the lock, which only ever works in movies. It was when I was playing Monica that she had a revelation. That our killer was killing in sequence, blonde, redhead, brunette. And the numerologist had been a blonde. This was his real serial pattern, not the numerology. That had just been a really weird coincidence, probably. They were going to have to rename him again at VICAP. The 999 killer. 9 was his number, not 0, not 6. 3 9s on the ring, not 6s, 3 sets of 3 women brutally beaten to death. At least it would have been if Wayne had killed me and Monica as he intended. And as it was, he came close. Too damn close. We were both distracted. Not much of an excuse, I know. And we were arguing. Again. Agent Reyes, you cannot reduce complex factors as physical and psychological into a game. You're a scientist, Agent Scully. Your world is ruled by numbers. Atoms, molecules, periodicity. And wouldn't it follow that everything made up from those things is ruled by numbers too? Genes, chromosomes, us, the universe? Mr. Burt applauded her. I ignored him, appalled at her pseudoscience. Agent Reyes, that is utter nonsense, okay? It would mean that all we are checkers on a checkerboard being moved around by some forces completely outside and unbeknownst to us. Then she brought Einstein into the argument. I did my thesis on Einstein. God does not play dice with the universe, nor does he play checkers. I thought it was a good comeback, but Monica just looked disappointed at my lack of mental flexibility. Look, Agent Reyes, you can't reduce all of life, all creation, every bit of art, architecture, music, literature, into a game of win or lose. I loved it when she stood up to me. Why not? Maybe the winners are the ones who play the game better, those who see the patterns and the connections like we're doing right now. Free will, Mr. Burt smiled. Maybe we're not the next victims. Maybe we're here because we saw the numbers and read the patterns and we're here to catch the killer. But the killer is outside, killing, and we are stuck in a parking garage, I pointed out. She went very still for a moment, and somehow I knew that the next thing she said would be the truth without question. What if he's not? Wayne was indeed waiting for us. He grabbed Monica, overpowering her. He would have killed her if Doggett hadn't found us, got to him first. I didn't trust myself not to lose it over Monica, so I concentrated on Wayne. Doggett had nailed him. He wasn't going to survive until the paramedics found us. Doggett, of all people, had seen something in Wayne's pattern that made him realize there was going to be 9 victims, and that Monica and I were slated to be numbers 8 and 9. And whilst we were sorting all of that out, our mysterious Mr. Burt just vanished, or walked away. We never did figure out who or what he was, or where he fit in. That night, I couldn't rest until I'd phoned her. She was still up whilst I was ready for bed, but then she wasn't governed by the sleeping hours of an 8-month-old child. And I asked her the question that had been burning at me all day. Well, the burning question that I had the guts to ask, as opposed to the one to which I really, really wanted to know the answer. I asked her what my number was. "You're a 9, she said. "Which means what? In for a penny?" 9 is completion. You've evolved through the experiences of all the other numbers to a spiritual realization that this life is only part of a larger whole. I thought about that for a while. Completion. It felt good, but it wasn't right. I wasn't complete, not yet. Not without her. "Dana, are you there?" I realized belatedly that I must have been quiet for some time. "A 9, huh? Oh, Scully, you smooth talker, you," the voice inside mocked. "For God's sakes, just tell her." "Monica, are you doing anything right now?" "No, not particularly," she said. "Why?" "Do you want to come over and talk some? We could open a bottle of wine, maybe get some takeout." "Sounds like a plan, Agent Scully. I'd like that a lot. Tell you what, there's a good Greek just around the corner from my place. How about I pick up something on my way over?" "That would be great," I smiled. Greatly daring. "Why don't you stay over? You can visit with William for a bit in the morning before Mom gets here to take him for the day. I'll drive us both to work if you like. We need to work on our report anyway in the morning." "Why, you're just full of bright ideas this evening, Agent Scully." The warmth in her voice made me smile, bask for a moment. "I'd love to visit with you and William. I'll be at your place at about half an hour, okay?" "Okay," I smiled. What can I say? She came, we ate, we talked, she stayed. She didn't sleep on the couch, and I learned what it was to be truly complete, to be part of a larger whole. It was everything I had hoped it would be, and more. She tasted of cinnamon and honey, and the softness of her skin belied them sleek muscles and strong bones beneath. When she came, she cried softly, almost a sigh, but no one would ever mistake it for a sound of sorrow. She told me again and again that I was beautiful, but she was stunning. She kissed and fondled me, gentle with my still sensitive breasts, her touch sure, her eyes never leaving mine as she brought me to completion, satiation, made me fly. She was everything I had ever wanted in a lover, and I knew I was lost. We fell asleep just before dawn, and waking up a few hours later in her arms was just wonderful. I watched her sleep until I heard William begin to fuss and went to attend to my son. When I came out of his room a little while later, she was showered and dressed and making pancakes for breakfast. And it felt as if we had done this all our lives, rather than just it being for the first time. And as she smiled at me, I knew she felt the same way. This was it, completion. And so as I contemplate all of this, my thoughts coming back to the beginning again, her arms steal around me from behind. I lean back against her. I love this. I love how we fit together. Our disparate sizes complement each other perfectly. Her lips softly touch the crown of my head. I run my hands over her arms where they rest around me. "Penny for them?" she asks softly. I turn in her arms so that I can kiss those dark, luscious lips. "You know how it is," I smiled, just contemplating fate and karma and winning moves. "Winning moves?" Her smile quirked her face. "No, those I gotta see." I stole a kiss. A second, though, by then they were more than willingly given. "You've already seen them all, I think." Monica laughed. "I seriously doubt that very much, Dana." We stood and contemplated the lights for a bit longer, and I covertly admired how they reflected of her pale olive skin, how dark her eyes were in the dim light, so dark and deep that I could fall into them forever. And it struck me again as powerfully as it had the first time I saw her. I loved this woman. Those dark eyes were focused on me again, as if they could see into my soul. Perhaps they could. I was beginning to believe that anything was possible where this woman was concerned. She smiled. "Happy Christmas, Dana." "Happy Christmas, Monica." Caring for Your Rat by Finn. Thank you for your purchase of our latest product, the rat. Below are a few tips to follow to make sure you get the most out of your new purchase. Be sure to keep your rat clear of diseases and other nasty problems by keeping him at all times away from nasty silos, rabid peasants, and other alien-infested locations. If he becomes dirty, washing the rat with a soap-based cleanser will quickly solve the problem. Full body contact may be required at times to prevent him from hurting himself, as he may get frisky. Do not use alcohol-based cleaners. Do not feed the rat after midnight, and under no circumstances get him wet. Oh, wait, wrong list. Your rat may disappear sometimes and then reappear days later, bruised, battered, and in a torn leather jacket and bleeding. This is normal behavior for a rat and must be taken in stride if you do not wish to scare him off. Care for your rat's injuries much as you would your own. Cuddling and snuggling can be quite effective, as most rats have an inbuilt need for affection. At no time allow him to deal with his own bandaging, as it will result in him not feeling that you care, and he will disappear for good next time. Chocolate is an effective bribe for recalcitrant rats. Make sure it's the good stuff, however, none of that nasty American chocolate. Only Swiss or British chocolate will be effective, and it will also prove to your rat that you are willing to go out of your way to that dinky chocolate shop on the other side of the city for him, and will often result in good behavior for the next short while. Please have your rat trained. It is often best for him to be trained privately. Rats do require a clear definition of who the boss is in the relationship. Training started early in the relationship will help prevent behavioral problems that can start very early. Bars are often a great place to show off your rat and to help social behavior with strangers. Early socialization is of great importance with rats. Rats require a lot of patience, especially during the early months. These times can be very trying for you and your rat, as you will learn their mouths are purpose-built. There is little to persuade them not to suck, lick, or nibble on everything. It is a good idea to provide quality body parts that can stand up to a young rat's oral phase. Here is a list of items you should have on hand for any emergency for your beloved rat. Bandages, hydrogen peroxide, anti-back cream, chocolate, lube, condoms, chocolate, massage oil, gun, fuzzy footy slippers, ammo, spare leather jacket, chocolate, doctor, any red-headed one will suffice, leather harness, stuffed toy rat, chocolate. Household hazards to avoid leaving around: open FBI top secret files, the good vodka, chocolate you want to keep, spare consortium assassins, laptop with information on the truth, any of the gunmen. Note, with the above, chances are the rat already knows more about it than you do. However, it is nicer to let him believe that you trust his information. Trust is a highly important issue. Grooming. A rat must always be well groomed if you are to maintain his self-esteem. A sturdy leather jacket, t-shirt, and jeans can be standard wear for most days. Be sure never to buy brightly colored clothing. Hawaiian shirts are right out. Try to keep him clean-shaven with his hair trimmed. Rats with shaggy beards are just not right. Sturdy shoes are required, but nothing that would make noise when moving. Stealth is very important to a rat's well-being. Underwear is usually not necessary. Do not, under any circumstances, neuter your rat. It will result in deep emotional pain and eventual withering away. And they're really not fun without all their bits intact. Always maintain patience for yourself and your rat. Rats are unlike most and will baffle you at times. They will love you infinitely. Enjoy your time with them, because when they are gone, you will ever wonder how you survived life without one. Looking after a rat may be a time-consuming effort, but is an ultimately rewarding task. We hope you enjoy your rat and that he gives you many years of pleasure. CSM Consortium Products Incorporated. This has been a Fandom X Archive production. All characters featured in the stories belong to Chris Carter, 1013 Productions, and Disney for some reason. This episode featured the following stories: Pulling Off His Wings by Hammerhead, Karma by Sally Vamp, Caring for Your Rat by Finn. This episode featured royalty-free music by Crankbuild, Acclivity, and Birds. You can find the links to all the stories and sound files in the description of this episode, as well as in the Fandom X Archive Master Doc. Happy Pride Month!